And lastly, International to East, where there has been so much talk around the title race and the fight to stay in the fourth tier. But we'll start with what has been a big couple of weeks in terms of the promotion battle for league leaders, Tonbridge Juddians. Now, cast your mind back 3 weeks or so where TJs were just a single point clear at the summit, but round 23's comeback 41-34 victory over Bury St Edmunds, combined with their game in hand, which took place last week against Guernsey Raiders, has seen Seb Sherwood and Jordan Turner Hallside move 8 points clear with 3 games to go. A lot was made around their game in hand last week away at Guernsey Raiders, but TJ's delivered a 49-21 victory, which leaves them in pole position for promotion to National 1. A 19th bonus point win from a possible 23 has them in the driving seat, with Dorking and Barnes their nearest challengers. Dorking had put the pressure on following a 4th win in a row in round 23 when they came from behind to beat Guernsey 31-29 away from home, while Barnes' title bid suffered a blow as they agonisingly fell to a 26-24 home defeat against 5th placed Old Albanian. But as they have done for so much of this season, TJs lead the way and have their destiny in their own hands. So that is the top of the table in terms of the title race. Down at the other end, round 23 proved significant in shaping the relegation scrap, as 12th place haven't secured a vital 25-19 victory over 10th placed Oxford Harlequins. It put an end to a run of 8 straight defeats for Havant, and as you can see, it leaves them 12 points clear of the danger zone with 15 points left to play for. Round 23 also saw the battle of the bottom two, which went the way of Worthing, as Ed Hartley's late penalty confirmed a 32-24 win over Colchester. But with Havant's victory, it still leaves Worthing with work to do, as they are 14 points behind Havant, while the bonus points in defeat for Colchester leaves them 12 points behind. So it is a big round 24 for those sides, as well as for league leaders Tonbridge Juddians, who take their title bid to 7th placed Henley Hawks, and Henley are our final feature club of the week on the National League Rugby preview show. Now, the Hawks began this term with a squad which is still a little bit fresh to National 2 East, and that may explain why they do sit in mid-table at this stage in the season. But this is a club which is ambitious and does want to start pushing for those top spots again. And at times this season, we have seen what this Henley squad is capable of. They've been away from home and beaten 2nd place Dorking. They beat 5th placed Old Albanian at home right at the very start of the season. They've also seen off 4th place Canterbury at Dry Lees this season. So have they got another performance or two in their locker like that as they look to end the season strongly? And ahead of their clash with league leaders Tonbridge Juddians this weekend, we caught up with Henley Hawks Director of Rugby, Luke Allen. And Luke, just as we said before we hit record, really, it's obviously the start of April already, if we can believe it or not, with just 3 games to go in the campaign. So how do you kind of sum up the progression of Henley Hawks during the 2024-25 season?
Yeah, again, it could be looked at, various ways, really. Last year we finished 4th, and that was a really good, strong finish for us as a club. We looked to sort of progress on this year, and I think obviously with the league being quite open, with not people coming down and stuff like this from National 1, we thought, it's going to be very competitive. A lot of teams are putting their hat in the mix to say we're going to get promoted this year. And you know what? Obviously, on reflection from last year, a lot of teams have beaten each other, and it's similar this year with a few. Obviously TJs and Dorking are doing a good job at the top. With TJs obviously been quite dominant. So this year itself, I think for us has been quite a frustrating one at times. We've been there or thereabouts at the top. We've beaten the top teams, apart from TJs. We've got this weekend, which will be interesting. It's just about consistency, and I think sometimes we're our own worst enemy. A lot of our games are being decided within 7 points. And that's quite frustrating. It's quite hard to pick up yourselves after these sort of narrow losses at times. But again, on reflection, this season as well, we had quite a turnover of senior players, we call it, boys retiring, one or two moving on. We had a lot of them retiring from obviously a huge amount of service, which is great. We had some young players to step up, and I think sometimes you can't underestimate the power of just having a year in a league, especially at National Two level. These boys are coming from college, academy programs, some of them, and it's a different type of rugby. It's traditional. It's some would call it boring. It's just doing the basic things well every week. So I think we've had a few shortcomings there where we haven't quite learned our lessons or managed games of how we should do to seal them off. But hey, that's how it is. And one good thing is that when we finish the season, we've had a squad of players now who've got National Two experience under their belt, and we can kick on. So yeah, last three games we're here to upset the party, see what we can do, and we'll go from there. Really, we're not the finished article. We are a club that's etched in history. We've got a lot of heritage to our name. It's about what does a new generation look like and what they're going to bring and what type of rugby do we want them to sort of carry the torch with going on. And I think it's understanding sometimes that you're not going to have the season how it goes. If we finish fourth one season, you think, okay, next year we're going to go for top three. It doesn't always work like that. It's really competitive. So I think the league's looking completely different towards, say 10 years ago. You've got to give a respect to a lot of these sort of smaller teams, so to speak, that are doing some good things. And I think it's not, getting too frustrated, but also understanding there are learnings to be made, and we'll do that next season, hopefully.
And you mentioned it before, Luke, as well, kind of probably the games this season where you've been able to see the talent that your team do have. I mean, going away to Dorking is not something that happens very often in this league, and winning, which you guys did. You beat Canterbury at home, you beat Old Albanian at home as well, right at the very start of the season. So again, that must give you real confidence that this group of players, yes, they might still be fresh on the outset, but they have got that ability to go up a notch or two when it really matters.
Yeah, well, one thing I think this team have got is a never die attitude. They're resilient. They're tough when they need to be. And I think obviously look back to Canterbury like last week. Realistically, that game was there for the taking for us. We did a really good job, and it's just that game management, that little bit of that nous almost, that top 2 inches that allows you to seal a game off or get that extra try. I mean, it's not through opportunities. We created opportunities. Then it goes to an overthrow, or it could be like a missed pass, or just a knock on, or just not the right call. And they're the little things that when you need just players to sort of put your foot on it and say, right, okay, what are we doing here? We lack that at crucial times. So it's those little lapses of concentration, I think, that we need to really brush up on. And that just comes with experience. Because again, frustration comes from we are there, we can be there, but it's just having a little bit of that extra that's needed to seal these games off, and that's the difference. I mean, look, next season I'm looking to retain the vast majority of my squad. I'm really proud of those men. They're coming good off the field as well. They seem to get on with each other, which is a really good sign. And I think we just need to now to really recruit, strategically in key areas, and just to make sure we pepper a few players who have some quality, a bit of experience as well as quality to help us get over the line. And again, just be, challenge at the top end of the table, which I know we can do. I'm not going to sit here and say next year we can get promoted. That's not what I'm saying at all. But I want us to be top four at least, challenging and saying every time they play Henley, worried that actually these boys they're here to play. They're here to offer something.
Yeah, absolutely, Luke. And just in terms of you individually, Luke, if I'm right in saying your second season as in the director of rugby role, how have you kind of found that transition really? I know Henley is a club which is incredibly close to your heart. You have such a strong affiliation with the club. So how have you found kind of the role of director of rugby over the last couple of seasons or so?
It's funny because I played my rugby at Sinford, so I come from Sinford to Henley back in 2013. So I've been at the club a number of years now. Went from forwards coach to obviously with Pete Davis, and when Pete moved on, went to head coach for what was it, 5, 6 seasons. Then obviously now the director of rugby. So I've seen a gradual change. I've been in a few roles, and I'm enjoying the challenge. I really am. I've gone from being on the ground a lot more on the coaching to more behind the scenes. So I look oversee obviously the ones, twos, and the threes. Looking at making sure the women's program is really firing, because we've got a fantastic group of girls at the club now as well who are doing a great job. I mean, this year our second team got promoted from level 7 to level 8, 6, sorry, which is great news. And obviously our third team went from level 8 to level 7 for next season as well. So they're doing some really good stuff. And the minis and junior section as well is thriving. So it's busy. And I think as you go to the director of rugby role, you've then got to go to the back room, make sure that's all in order. It's having good people around you. It's good people that you can trust as well. That's key, especially in the coaching game. And then the players themselves, just making sure they're happy in the environment. Look, I'm very much a relational person. I like to think the players can come and talk to me about everything, and I sort of pride myself on that as well. And if the player's got a problem, they just come and speak to me, and likewise, I'll speak to them. And I'll make that continue. But yeah, it's busy. It's busy juggling life. I've got a fantastic wife who is very understanding. I think that's the key to a successful DOR, because it's a hell of a lot of time. It's a Monday to Sunday job. It's not, and even though this is not my full-time job, it does require a lot of time. A lot of hours off behind the scenes. So.
It feels like an exciting environment, an exciting time to be part of Henley, whether it's this season or looking forward. Yeah. But just to finish off, because I know you're tight for time, just looking ahead to the final 3 games of the season, and you touched on it right at the very start of our chat. Tonbridge Juddians coming to your place on Saturday afternoon. They've been the league leaders for a fair chunk of this season. They did hit a couple of bumps in the road at the start of March, but responded very well indeed to kind of leave the destiny in their hands a little bit. They'll have the tails up coming to your place on Saturday. So what do you expect the challenge to be at Dryleys?
Yeah, and rightly so. They've done some great stuff this year. Really good, talented bunch of boys. Their coaches and management team, some good lads there as well that I know well. Had some really good discussions with them when they come over to our place, and vice versa. We expect them to be physical up front. We expect them to be, efficient out wide. Got some pace on the wings. And it's not going to be an easy day at the office, but what we're looking to do is really just be good at what we can do. Okay, so in not playing silly in our areas, close to our lines, making sure we're really efficient and our game model that we want to play is executed well. Really putting a bit of pressure on our game leaders as well to step up and just manage the boys. And yeah, it's just really let's take it to them really. So that's the attitude this weekend. It's not a case of we're going to just turn up and just hopefully it goes well. It's actually we're there to play. We're there to take a scalp, and that's what we're looking for. So just to be abrasive and confident in ourselves. You know what I mean? You look between so where we are at 7th to say 4th, 5th, 4th. There's only like a few points in it. So if we can get like maximum points out of these last 3 games, then we put ourselves into a position where we can hold our heads high and say, look, do you know what? We've had a few ups and downs, but we've finished on our terms, and I think that's really important.
So a big thanks to Luke for taking the time out to speak to us ahead of Henley's meeting with Tonbridge Juddians this weekend. It sounds like exciting times to come for the Hawks over the next couple of years, but right here, right now, they're aiming for a 4th straight victory at home. But there is a scenario where Tonbridge Juddians can be crowned champions this weekend if they are able to claim a bonus point victory at Dryleys and Dorking fail to win in round 24, then the title will be heading to Tonbridge Juddians. But can Henley spoil the party, as Luke said, and ruffle the feathers of Tonbridge Juddians on Saturday afternoon, or will TJ's march on? We'll have to wait and see. Well, Dorking and Barnes will be hoping Henley can do something to halt TJ's. This title race is to spring into life once again, with Barnes visiting 9th place Bury St Edmunds this weekend, while Dorking host a Havant side who need just 3 league points from their final 3 games to guarantee their safety in National 2 East. Of course, if the bottom 2 sides of Colchester and Worthing both lose in round 24, Havant will be safe, but their table rivals will not be giving up the fight that easily. Colchester actually travelled to Havant in round 25, but first up for them, they must gain a positive outcome at home to Guernsey Raiders, who they did beat 38-36 at Foots Lane at the end of February, while opportunity knocks for Worthing again as they go to 11th placed Sevenoaks, with the hosts needing to match Colchester's result to confirm their safety. So a lot on the line in terms of the top and the bottom of the table in National 2 East this weekend. While elsewhere, Oxford Harlequins, who confirmed their place in National 2 for next season in round 23, following an excellent second half of the campaign, they host Canterbury, while 5th place Old Albanian, who have now won 7 games in a row, they take their excellent recent form to 6th place Westcombe Park, who could leapfrog Oways in the table with a 3rd straight win.